today we talk about the first solar eclipse of 2022 that's occurring on April 30th. Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chaudhary. Welcome to my channel and a very warm namaste. First solar eclipse of 2022 occurs on April 30th or May 1st, depending upon where you are in the world. So this eclipse is not going to be visible to most of the world, or most of the people living in the world, because it occurs very much at the tip near the South Pole, sort of like in the Antarctica. And so the path is going to be the tip of South America, Antarctica, and the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. So most of the people it's not going to be visible to. The question is always, like, if it's not visible in our country or where we live locally, does it still have an impact? And the answer is yes, it does have an impact. A solar eclipse has an impact on the whole world because it's a obviously a global phenomenon. The astrological significance of the solar eclipse is far greater than a lunar eclipse. Now, as per Vedic astrology, this eclipse is occurring in the house of, or the zodiac of, Aries. Now, I know a lot of people will say, but a lot of people are saying that it's in Taurus, but that's according to Western astrology. So per Vedic astrology, this eclipse is occurring in Aries. So the eclipses always occur in the houses or the zodiac signs where the nodes Rahu and Ketu are placed. So in April, Rahu moved to Aries and Ketu moved to Libra. So now for the next year and a half, all the eclipses will be occurring in the house of Aries and Libra. So this solar eclipse is happening now in Aries, and the nakshatra that it's going to be happening is in Bharani. So Bharani is ruled by Venus. So now this obviously the solar eclipse happens on April 30th. According to California time, it's going to be 9:45 in the morning on April 30th. If you live in India, then it's going to be after midnight, and so it's going to be on May 1st, but the date has changed, so it's going to be after midnight on May 1st. So but it's not going to be visible, so we can't really see it unless you want to see it live on a video YouTube stream or something like that. So there's another very significant thing that's also occurring on the same day as the solar eclipses. So it's called Shani Amavasya. So Shani is Saturn and Amavasya is the night of no moon. So when the no moon day or night, I should say, occurs on a Saturday, it's considered very auspicious event. And there's a lot of things that you can do. There's a lot of rituals that you can do that are very auspicious, and they relate to our karma. So the Shani Amavasya, the remedies relate to releasing of karmic debts, especially for those related to prior generations. If your ancestors have done any karmic debts that are coming on to you, then you can do the remedies during this Shani Amavasya. So those debts in astrology on your birth chart are usually referred to as pitra dosh. Pitra is your prior ancestors, and dosh is something that's a challenge. So if you have a pitra dosh in your chart, or if you feel that you need to do the remedies because you're facing a lot of difficulty in your life, then this is a good day to do some remedies. The basic remedy for the Shani Amavasya or pitra dosh at this time would be to make donations. So you can make donations of food, water. I suggest food and water only. I don't like making money donations, because the person can just use it for other things that are not so good. So make food and water donations to needy people. So you can do that. You can also pray to Lord Shani, or you can pray to Lord Hanuman at this time. You can light a lamp or a diya, with mustard oil, and you can pray to Lord Shani for forgiveness of your sins or forgiveness of the sins of your past ancestors also. So that's how a typical remedy for the Shani Amavasya or Pitra dosh is done. So forgiveness of all the sins of your past generations, in case you're suffering from that. For those that believe in it, you could do that. So and if you are, follow a different faith other than the Hindu religion, you can still do it. You can still make your donations, and you can still pray to whoever that you pray to and ask for forgiveness for all the sins that your prior generations or you yourself may have created. So you're basically asking for forgiveness of all the negative karma that may have been created knowingly or unknowingly by yourself and your prior generations. So this is a very good day to do it. This solar eclipse is going to be a very challenging time. Now, normally eclipses aren't, they provide a little bit of a challenge, but they're not that challenging. They occur frequently, obviously, at least two pairs, like two solar eclipses and two lunar eclipses occur in a year. So they're not that rare to happen. They happen pretty frequently. So there's nothing to get concerned about. But this time, when the solar eclipse happens, there's other planetary situations that are a little bit challenging also going on at the exact same time, which is why this solar eclipse that's happening provides some challenges to all of us. And also I'll mention those, and I'll tell you, what you can expect in our lives and what we can expect for the world to see. It's going to be a little bit of a challenging time. Now, how long does this challenging time last? Usually the time between a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse is 2 weeks. So there's going to be a lunar eclipse on May 14th, 15th. So the challenging time is normally between the time of the solar eclipse to the lunar eclipse, so the 2 weeks. But in this case, I think for the next month, right after the solar eclipse, for another month or so, the time is going to be challenging for a few things. I'll mention those when I do the predictions for the zodiac signs, but in general, this is a very challenging time. This 1 month is a very challenging time for a lot of things in the world and for ourselves as well. I'll mention those when I talk about those. So let me tell you what are the other challenging things, that planetary situations that are going on right now. Now, a few not last month, but in April, a few weeks ago, Jupiter moved into the sign of Pisces. Now, we all know, and I made a video on that, it's a wonderful thing because Jupiter owns Pisces. So it's a very beneficial time for Jupiter because it's a good position. But what also happened very recently is that Venus moved into Pisces as well. Now, Venus is exalted in the zodiac of Pisces. So now Jupiter and Venus are both in the house zodiac of Pisces together, and they're going to be conjunct now in the next few days. They're going to have a tight conjunction, and that's considered a planetary war. I've talked about a planetary war in several of my previous videos, and when that happens, what it means is that the planets come very close together, so they kind of fight for space. And they get a little uncomfortable because, it's just like two human beings getting too close together. And they're getting uncomfortable because they're too close to each other. So the energy between those two planets gets a little disturbed. And it's a little more significant because Jupiter is Dev Guru, so he's the guru or the teacher or the mentor of the gods, and Venus is the guru or the mentor or the teacher of the demons. So they are the two gurus, one of the gods, one of the demons, and now they're coming together in a planetary war. So it's considered the planetary war between good over evil. So there's going to be a very state of confusion or a state of disharmony in the world as well, and also within ourselves. We may be toying or we may be struggling between good and bad within ourselves as well, because that's what these two planets represent. Jupiter represents the good in all of us. It also is a significator of the dharma and the religion, and Venus is the significator of material desires and things. So there's going to be this struggle between religious fights, the struggle within ourselves between spirituality and materiality. And so this planetary war signifies that within ourselves. So this is occurring at the exact same time as the solar eclipses. And then there's a third thing that's going on, because that's not enough. Now we have to have another thing. That in the house of Aquarius, on the 28th of April, Saturn moved into the house of Aquarius. And who else moves in there? Mars moves in there too. Now, Saturn and Mars are sworn enemies. They're enemy planets. They don't like each other. Mars is fierce and aggressive and fiery. Saturn is slow, very methodical, and very cold planet. So they're opposing forces. They signify opposing things. And now they're in the same house, and now they're fighting for space as well. So there's not a planetary war because they're not in conjunction, but they're all in the same house of Aquarius, and then now they're having a little bit of a disharmony themselves. So now a house of Aquarius is also in a state of disharmony, or I should say kind of out of balance. So now literally every single planet that we know is now in a state of out of balance. Literally the whole planetary situation has become out of balance. So what happens is that when all these planets become out of balance, they're in a state of tension, so to speak. All the planets are tense right now. Nobody's happy. It kind of, impacts our own energy level. It impacts the energy of the universe because it's considered like out of balance and it's out of sync. And all the planets are very close together. They're all in Aquarius and Pisces. And then Aries is where the eclipse is. So there's 3 houses and all the planets are clustered in 3 houses. And the rest of the zodiac, there's no planets. So the energy becomes concentrated in one area, and then it has a complete sense of imbalance in the nature as well. Of course, it leads to a lot of conflict. There's a lot of conflict within the world because everybody's fighting for something or the other. It could be space, it could be your religious beliefs, it could be your thoughts, it could be things that you want to do but somebody opposes it. So this is, we've already seen what's happening in the world. Obviously there's war going on. People are fighting for their space, their land, their nation. And now, there's a lot of places that, I don't want to get into politics, but there's a lot of places in the world that are fighting for religious beliefs also. And so this is going to intensify as a result of this solar eclipse. You might see this again going escalating in the next month or so, right after the solar eclipse. This is also something that I want to caution all of us about. How does this affect us? This affects us because our own energy becomes very disturbed. We may have mentally become disturbed. We may mentally become stressed, and we may also start to get pulled in different directions. So if you think about it, the energy that we get, all humans or living beings get, is from nature. We get our energy from the sun, we get our energy from the moon, of course, and we get our energy from this whole universe. And when that energy in the universe gets so disturbed, so conflicted, then it affects our own energy as well. And as I mentioned, this eclipse is happening in the zodiac of Aries. Aries rules the head portion of our body. It's also the first sign of the zodiac, so it also signifies the start of new things. So at this time, our thinking, because the head is where the brain is, our thinking is going to be conflicted, and we're also going to get very confused. There's also chances of being very anger and ego issues bubbling to the surface. There's a very good chance that people have headaches, intense headaches. I know I've had a very, very bad nagging headache for the last 2 days because I'm having the dasha antardasha, one of the afflicted planets. So a lot of people can complain of severe headaches depending upon which dasha or antardasha you're having. Also because Saturn is so afflicted, there's a possibility that a lot of people have a lot of severe aches and pains in their body at this time. There's nothing to worry about. Just kind of, lay low and rest. So the best advice I can give people is to do lots of meditation, take a lot of rest, and don't make any decisions at this time. Or don't even start anything at this time. It's not a good time to start anything. Now, I know in my previous videos, in the Jupiter video, in my Saturn video, I said, this is a good time. It is a good time, but Saturn and Jupiter transits are going to last for a long time. My caution is just for this month, or the 2 or 3, 4 weeks from the solar eclipse onwards. So after that, everything will be fine. And if I've told you, one of my ascendants, this is a good time to start something, it's okay to do it, a month after the eclipse happens. So after May, or the end of May, everything should be good. But I really caution not starting anything, not making investment changes, not doing anything as far as new things, relationship changes, anything, at least around the eclipse time, which is the 29th, 30th, 1st, 2nd. Definitely not around that. And then if you can hold off, then at least hold off until the lunar eclipse, which is the 15th of May, so 2 weeks. And if you can really hold off, then please hold off for another month. If you must do something, then I'd say think through it very carefully and then make a change. But if you can, I'd suggest you hold off on making big decisions, life-changing decisions at this time, and especially related to money, finance, or starting new projects, or something new, or committing to something. I think the commitments are going to be the problem. So again, a lot of people, headaches, body aches are very common during a solar eclipse, especially the Aries solar eclipse, and also mental confusion, because both the sun and the moon are going to be afflicted. Now, what are the things that we can expect? People always like me to make some predictions about everybody and anything. So here's some predictions that we can definitely, I think, make. They're not good predictions to make. I hate making negative predictions, but, unfortunately, we may see some of the effects of this. So because of the disturbance of the energy, very, very large disturbance because of all the planets, there's some things that we can expect in nature. So natural disasters are likely in the next couple months, month or so, and those natural disasters could relate to land. So they could be earthquakes, they could be storms also, but a lot of natural disasters related to land are possible. Also, some of the not natural but other accidents and disasters are possible because of the effect of Mars and Saturn being together. So we can see that as well. So be very careful. Now, because Jupiter and Venus are affected, Jupiter relates to the air, so there can be air related disasters as well. Also, this solar eclipse is not good for leaders of large countries, and we may see some things related to leaders of countries, large companies. There could be changes in leadership as well in the next few months as a result of the solar eclipse and the fact that these planets are very challenged at this time. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to say anymore. So natural disasters, challenging for leaders of large nations and large companies. Change in leadership is definitely for some of the countries is predicted at this time as well. Now I'm going to give you some cautions relating to your moon sign and your ascendant lord. Now, the ascendant lord is your rising sign. That's the first zodiac sign of your birth chart, and it's based on Vedic astrology. For the 100th time, it's based on Vedic astrology. Please don't ask me again in my comments whether it's Western astrology or Vedic astrology. So again, now this time you can listen to both your moon sign and your ascendant sign, and you can use both cautions, okay? Again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. And also, because this is such a cautionary video, share it with friends and family. Aries, eclipse in the first house. So this is going to be a confusing time for you. You may be conflicted in your head, you may be stressed, and you may be worrying about certain things. You may also be having headaches and some pain in the head, or maybe you can even bang your head or get a little bit of a head injury. So make sure you take very good care of yourself. This is not the time to make any decisions relating to life changes, monetary changes, or any other changes. It's a time to lay low, relax, and take good care of yourself. Don't make any changes in life at this time. Taurus eclipse is in your 12th house. The 12th house actually is a good eclipse for the Taurus people. If there was things that you were waiting on to get completed, they may get completed now. It's a good time for your finance. Your finances will do good, and also it's a good time for your career. So if there was something you were waiting on to achieve or accomplish in your career, you may get it now, and your finances will do very well at this time. Just don't make any changes going on right now, and don't make any life-changing decisions at this time. Gemini, eclipse in the 11th house. You're going to chase after desires, you're going to chase after things, material things, and you're going to be very confused. It's a very confusing time for you. You may also find that friends and family are maybe somebody betrays you, or you may be chasing after them and then getting a little disappointed, I should say. So just try to be less material and a little more spiritual, and you may be a little happier that way. Don't run after investments, don't run after money. You may not get the results that you were looking for. Time to lay low. Don't run after material desires and run after people. Like I said, you may be deceived and you may not get the results that you want in your investments. Stay calm, don't do anything, don't make any changes. And definitely don't run after people or make any commitments towards people either. Cancer, eclipse in the 10th house. 10th house is your career. You're going to get the urge to go and tell your boss off something, or you're going to get angry at work. There's going to be some anger related issues at work, and they're going to bubble to the surface, and you're going to be very tempted to go tell off somebody. Resist the urge to do that. This will not end well. So lay low, keep your anger and arrogance and ego in check at work. Resist the urge to tell off people at work, and just kind of lay low. Don't make any decisions or impulsive decisions at work, or it will not end well for you. So time to not make any career decisions. It's time to don't tell people off. Don't let ego and arrogance get in the way at work. So time to just keep your head down, work, wait it out for a month. Things might settle down after a month anyway. Leo, your ascendant Lord Sun is having the solar eclipse, and it's happening in your 9th house. The 9th house relates to your dharma. It also relates to travel. If you make long distance travel plans or any travel plans, make sure you double check anything. Try not to even make those plans right now, because things could go awry or things could not go well. Stick to your dharma, stick to your religion, and make sure you do deep meditation to make sure that your soul is stays stress-free and calm at this time. Otherwise, you could be very, very disturbed at this point, relating to a lot of things that happen in the family. Just stay very close to your religion. Keep your meditation going, keep your dharma going, keep your prayers going, and whoever that you choose to believe in. And try not to make too many long distance or any short distance travel plans at this time. Also, don't test your luck. This is not a time you test your luck with people, with investments, or money. Make no decisions regarding that. Virgo, the eclipse is happening in your 8th house. The 8th house signifies sudden events, health issues, also signifies delays and obstructions. It's best not to do anything at this time, make any grand plans on investments, or make any grand plans to do certain life-changing events, or even travel, or anything else. They could change at the last minute, and they can have obstacles as well. Take very good care of your health. There could be health issues if you don't take care of them. There could be aches and pains in the body. And also make sure that you eat well, because things that you eat can also make you sick. Take good care of your health, and drive very, very carefully. Otherwise, make no changes to any investments, any plans, any financial issues, and like I said, take good care of your health. It's a time to lay low and make no changes. Meditation will work wonders for you. Libra, the eclipse is happening in your 7th house. The 7th house is relationship with your spouse, with your business partners. Things may not go well with your business partners, and due to investments or money related matters. It's not a good time to make decisions regarding investments or business, things that you do in your business or with your investments or with your business partners. Also, resist the temptation to tell your spouse off, because the relationship might suffer. Lay low, do everything right. Don't get in trouble with your spouse, because now might not be a good time to test his or her patience, because they will have none. Remember, the solar eclipse is impacting them as well. So keep your marriage intact, keep your relationship with your business partners intact. Don't try to make any new investments in your business at this time, and also don't try to change the investment portfolio, or don't try to make changes in your businesses at this time. It's not going to be a good time to make any changes or start a new business as well. Don't start a new partnership with business as well. This is not a good time to do that. You can wait for a month and then do it later. Scorpio, eclipse is happening in your 6th house, and the 6th house denotes your co-workers. It also denotes enemies and your competition. Watch your relationship with your co-workers really well. Don't let ego and arrogance get in the way and have you tell them off, because the chances are that they may have information on you and they'll turn into your enemy, or they'll turn and give information to your co-workers. Keep the information, sensitive information, confidential information, very close to your chest. There's a chance it will leak out, and somebody will use it to benefit them against you. So make sure you watch your relationship at work with your coworkers, and also make sure you keep all information very close to your chest, because information could be used against you, especially by your competition and your enemies. Sagittarius, the eclipse is in your 5th house. The 5th house relates to education, love life, and children. Don't make any changes. Don't make any decisions in regarding to education if you're in the field of education, or if you're getting education right now. Don't make any changes in your love life either. Status quo is the best way to be, especially with children. Also, make sure you nurture the relationship. Make sure you don't get into a state of confusion as far as their education, or making decisions as far as your children are concerned. name and fame, it's a good time for that. If you're waiting for some recognition, you might actually get it now in your career. But otherwise, all other things, you need to take a step back, let things work out for themselves, and make any decisions relating to them much later. If you're thinking about getting married or proposing to somebody, wait for a time, wait for another month or so, and then do it. Because I said no commitments right now. It's not a good time to make any commitments. Capricorn, the eclipse is in your fourth house. The fourth house relates to your domestic happiness, your mental happiness, and the four walls of your house and where you live. Don't start any renovation or home projects at this time. It's not a good time for that. Don't make any changes to your home at this time either. Moving things around. Don't do that as well. You might be disturbed. You might not be mentally very happy. Your domestic bliss might be questionable at this time, only because of the solar eclipse. It's time to lay low, make no changes in the home environment, anything to do with the home. Just relax, meditate, and take it easy for the next month or so. And if you want to make any changes as far as relocation or renovations in the house, you have to wait for a month before you do that. Aquarius, the eclipse is in your third house, and the third house is always your self-effort, hard work, and starting of new things also. Not a good time for that. You might actually feel low on energy. You might not feel like starting anything, so it's actually a good thing. Don't start anything new right now. Don't, you might feel very lethargic right now. You actually might not even want to start anything new. Lay low right now. Also, your relationship with your siblings might be a little bit challenged at this time. So watch your relationships with your siblings and your neighbors. Don't get into it with any of those people. Don't come out and start a fight outside your house with your neighbors. It might not go well for you. So, and also, like I said, lay low. Don't start anything new. Don't get into it with your siblings and neighbors. And also, short distance travels is the third house. So try not to do any short distance travels at this time. Things may not go as well as you would want them to. Pisces, the eclipse is happening in your second house. The second house deals with family and finance mostly, and the food you eat. Be very careful what you're eating. It might disturb your health. Also, this is definitely not the time to make any financial decisions or trust people that come and tell you what to do with your money. You could get duped or you could get deceived by somebody at this time. So no decisions regarding finance, no decisions regarding money, no decisions regarding savings or anything to do with finance at all. Also, keep it very cordial with your family. Things could go really bad in your relationship with family members. So make sure you nurture the relationships. Don't take chances with your relationships with family members and with the food you eat. Make no changes. In fact, what's left, take it easy, lay low, enjoy, relax, meditate, and let the time pass. This brings me to the end of my video regarding the solar eclipse. Everybody, please stay safe, take good care of your health, and I'll see you